Innuendo, Book 5 of the Todd Mills Mystery Series. Author, R.D. Zimmerman. Publisher, Scribble Pub Press, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Narrator, Eric Aust. Chapter 39. Seated on the big couch in the expensive living room, Rawlins stared at Tim Chase and saw no hero. Not by any means. Instead, he saw some rich guy not only trying to save his own neck, but a bastard who'd done his best to shatter Rawlins' world. "I could bring my lawyer into this if you like," said Chase, his tone calm and cool, as he paced slowly in front of them. "But frankly, I'd just as soon not. I'm afraid that would blow everything out of proportion, and obviously I'd like to avoid any and all publicity regarding this." "I can understand and appreciate that," said Foster, who was seated next to Rawlins. "There is the matter, however, of a knife believed to be the weapon used to kill Andrew Lyman. That weapon has been linked to Victor Radzinski, whom you employ." "My bodyguard." "Yes, your bodyguard." Admitting the fact that it was an anonymous tip, Rawlins said, "We have a witness who saw Radzinski throw the knife into Lake Harriet. Our witness also can identify Radzinski's car, a white Saab." Rawlins kept his eyes on Chase as the actor walked to the fireplace and leaned against the mantel. He stood there and thought for a few long moments, turned and glanced to the hallway, perhaps wondering if Radzinski, whom he'd told to wait in the kitchen, was doing just that. "I'm going to tell you what you'll probably find out anyway," began Chase after a careful moment of thought. "I'm just going to save you some time." "We appreciate that," said Foster, sounding about as sincere as a burned-out cop could. "I'm almost positive the knife you found is mine." Rawlins, trying to conceal his surprise at so easy an admission, said, "You own a fishing knife?" "That's right. And I have a rod and reel, a brown plastic tackle box, too. I bought them all here in town just last week because we've been shooting out at Lake Minnetonka. In between scenes, I've been fishing a bit. Anyone on the set can verify that." "When did you last use a knife?" "Actually, I never did. It was brand new." Foster asked, "Do you know when you last saw it?" "Sure. Exactly 3 nights ago." Which was, Rawlins knew, the night Andrew was killed, and he pressed, "Where was it?" "In the back of my Land Rover." Chase shook his head. "A little before 10 that night. I thought I heard something in back of the house. You see, Gwen has had troubles on and off with Stalker, some real twisted guy, and I was worried that maybe he'd shown up here in Minneapolis, so I went out back. I couldn't see anyone, but the side door leading from the patio to the garage was open, so I went in and looked around. Everything looked fine at first. It's a 3-car garage, rather big, but at a glance, nothing looked wrong. Just to be sure, I looked at my car, wondering if someone had broken in and stolen my CD player. It was there, undisturbed. I checked in the back as well and saw my fishing pole and tackle box, too. But then I saw something that I hadn't seen before, a plastic bag." Foster cut in. "What color was it?" "Dark green." "Was your vehicle unlocked?" questioned Rawlins. "Yes, completely. I mean, I never lock it in the garage. Why bother?" "So what'd you do? Where was the bag?" "The bag was in the back by the rod. It looked like a shoe bag or something, and I wondered if I'd left it something back there, so I opened up the rear hatch, reached for the bag, and looked inside. And there was my fishing knife, which I had never used, covered with blood." "Were you worried?" asked Foster. "Concerned at all?" "Very worried." "Why?" "Because I thought he was back, the guy stalking Gwen." Rawlins studied him and said, "What do you mean?" "We still don't know who he is, but this guy is sick, real sick. Once he left a skinned rabbit on our doorstep in L.A. Another time he butchered a cat and sent it in the mail to her. It's all true. You can ask the cops in L.A. They've been right on top of it, and then the last time he wrote Gwen a love note in a human blood. I mean, it was real human blood. The cops analyzed and tested the whole thing. So I saw the knife and assumed it was him again." Sure, this guy was an actor, but no one, thought Rawlins, could make up anything this quick, or for that matter, that disgustingly real. Rawlins would have to check with the cops in L.A., but he had no doubt they'd verified Chase's story, at least what they'd heard thus far. "So what'd you do?" Rawlins asked. Well, I didn't want to tell Gwen. She'd just gotten here, and I didn't want to freak her out. She seemed so relaxed, so calm, so glad to be away from Hollywood. And here I thought this guy had already followed her all the way out here. Maybe that was dumb. Maybe it was stupid. I don't know. He shrugged, looked at the floor, and shook his head. And then, I went and talked to Gwen for a few minutes, and then I went out and found Vic. What'd you tell him? Storming into Vic's room, Chase said, "That fucking freak has followed us out here." "What do you mean?" said Vic, using the remote to flick off his TV. "My fishing knife is covered with blood. That's what I mean. It's in a plastic bag in the back of my car. Shit. That asshole was in the garage. He was inside the house. Vic, inside." Vic leaped to his feet. "I'll get him this time." "Forget it. He's long gone and we both know it. But just get rid of the knife. I don't want Gwen to see it. It'll scare the hell out of her. I'm going to have to tell her soon enough, but just get rid of it." "Certainly. Just throw it in one of those fucking lakes. I don't care. Just get it out of here." "So that's what he did," continued Chase, looking right at Foster and Rollins. "He went down and got the knife, then drove out to one of the lakes and threw the knife in the water. End of story." "No," thought Rollins, "not quite." Whether all or even part of what Chase had just said was true or not remained to be proven. It did, however, open a host of other questions. Rollins glanced at Foster and knew he was thinking exactly the same thing. Foster said, "When did you last use your Land Rover that afternoon?" "I don't know, 5 or 6. "And was the green bag there then?" "No, I'm positive it wasn't. I returned from the set with an extra set of clothes in the back, and I would have noticed the bag if it had been there." "How about the knife?" "I don't know. The tackle box I had it stored in was back there, but I didn't look inside it." "Did anyone use your vehicle after that?" Tim Chase hesitated, then said, "Actually, Vic did. Sometimes he uses my car just to lead the photographers away from the house. And he went somewhere around 7. "What about Andrew Lyman?" pressed Rollins. "Did you ever meet or encounter in any way a young man, age 17, by the name of Andrew Lyman?" Chase stared right at Rollins and said, "Please. All I'd like to say is that my private life is confidential. I can assure you, however, that I didn't kill anyone." "Did you meet him or not?" "Did I ever meet this kid, this Andrew Lyman? Well," he said, looking across the large room, "I wouldn't be surprised if I had." "What's that mean?" "It means I believe I met him once, if I'm not mistaken. He wanted my autograph, that's all." Studying the face he'd seen and admired so many times on the silver screen, Rollins wasn't sure at all what to believe. Did he wondered, dare trust this man who'd garnered so much fame and fortune by pretending to be other people, in other words, through his ability to lie and to do so beautifully? On the other hand, Chase might lie, but other things definitely wouldn't. Rollins said, "Mr. Chase, I just want to let you know that we've recovered a number of foreign hairs and semen samples from both Andrew's body as well as from his apartment. Those samples are now undergoing DNA testing, which I can assure you will tell us a great deal about who Andrew was with just prior to his death." Seeing the cloud of concern sweep across Chase's face, Rollins added, "So, if we think it necessary, we'll get a search warrant for this house, and perhaps for a body search as well." "What the hell's that mean?" "It means you could be required to provide us with..." "What?" "Hey, now, wait a minute. Wait just a single fucking minute." "Oh, I'm very serious. A judge could require you not only to give us a blood sample, but to provide us with a number of cut, combed, and plucked pubic hairs. And I do mean plucked, so that we're sure to get the follicles." Pleased to see him squirm, Rollins tossed in, "So, is there anything else you'd like to tell us?" Began Chase, clearing his throat. "No, not without my lawyer present." Gay Mysteries audiobooks. I think it is easy to hate a label, but a face humanizes the word. So this effort is twofold: to offer comfort to those like myself that your world didn't end because you don't fit into the view of acceptable society on both sides, and in hopes of helping those with family that are LGBTQ
that it doesn't mean we are aliens from the child they once knew. Reassure them so they can maybe be supportive at the same time, being true to their values.